Okay, awesome. So, yeah, just to start off, my name is Priya. I'm a singer and songwriter based in LA, but with Ravi Audio, I work as their artist advisor for the fellowship program. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm so excited for the opportunity to interview you. I've had a chance to listen to the music, watch the show, and it's incredible. So, yeah, firstly, congratulations on that. Incredible
Thank,
work.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of
I'm glad
course.
you liked the show as well and the songs.
Yeah, and when Daivik told me, he was like, the themes and just the concepts in this show are so unique and interesting. And then I watched it and I was like, wow, to write music to capture that is incredible. So, yeah. And then I also I've got my little notes here. Cool, yeah. And now just to introduce you all. We're joined by Shivam Anuj, incredible music producer and composer duo, um, who composed the incredible score for Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein, the Netflix India show. And Daivik is also here, who was a playback singer on Deewaana Deewaana, which is on the same soundtrack. And Daivik is also a 2023 alum of the Ravi Ray Audio Fellowship Program. And yeah, we're so happy to have you all here. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us.
having
Yeah,
us.
super excited.
Of course, yeah. And I just want to say, when I was thinking of the questions to ask you all, I had a huge list. I was like, okay, let's, kind of narrow it down because just so many things came up because of how beautifully written this soundtrack is. But yeah, yeah, of course. Let's start off with a question for both of you, Shivam and Anuj. How did you start becoming or writing together? And when did your journey as a duo begin? And also, how did your journey with Ye Kali Kali Aankhein begin?
You wanna take that, Shivam, or
Oh yeah, I can take it. Uh,
yeah?
So we were in the same college. Like I've got two degrees, both useless. Uh, but we were in the so in my first college, which was in Mumbai. We were in the same college in Mithibai, and he's a year younger than me. But I was part of BMM, which is Bachelor of Mass Media, and they had this whole BMM festivals and music thing, and so we had to form a band, and it was founded by someone else and me, but eventually it got to a lot of people, and Anuj was one of the he was the bass player in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's how we met. And then eventually, once we graduated from the college, we started playing gigs and stuff with the band. And then the all the other members from the band decided they wanted to do other things with their lives, so they just went here and there, and we
I mean,
decided to
they're doing pretty well.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
just just not the band. So
Yeah.
and then we decided to do music, so we stayed and we used to just jam and make things and
Yeah. And that
uh,
band was weirdly unique because it was like there were five people, but three people used to write, and the three writing styles were drastically different. Like Anuj was one of them, I was one of them, and then we had Kshitij, who was our lead guitarist. He was another one. Uh, and like we all used to write, but like all of us really enjoyed like those backing vocals and like three-part vocal harmony while doing all that. So that's where we like got into that whole vibe. I don't know what you call it, but that
Yeah.
Crosby, Stills and Nash, Paul Simon and Garfunkel-ish zone. But like Anuj and me, sometimes it would just be the two of us, or we'd reach early to a rehearsal. So we'd just like start jamming, and that's sort of how the two of us within the band also became a thing.
yeah, and then we started to do some music, like music for some ads and stuff, and that's how we started to do it commercially, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Initially, we were also separate entities. Like I remember I was a lot into ads and Anuj was into short films.
Got one.
And then there was this one ad that didn't pay anything. So I was like, "You want to help me play flute on this?" And and
Yeah.
Anuj played flute, and then he just played it, and we were both like, when we make music together, it's a little better than when we just make it individually.
Individually.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a cool story. And I love the things you mentioned, even like the vocal harmony thing. I think back to the score and I hear some really cool arrangements with those vocals. But yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, what about your journey with Ye Kali Kali Ankhein? How did that come about and start?
Yeah. Uh, so after our individual things, like, I mean, you can call me a nepo kid, even though it's not, like my dad's not a big shot or like wasn't then, but uh, it started with us doing this ad and stuff on the side, and this is when I'd gone to Berkeley College of Music, and I remember my dad was a TV director, and Indian television, I don't know if you're familiar with it, is super dramatic, all that ding
Yep, yeah.
all. So when he was doing that, he was still doing like good work, but that was something I looked at and I was like, What is this?" But the like I come back for like one summer break, and I saw like one of the rough cuts of the web series, and I was like, this looks really good. Uh, And he was like, could Anuj and me try to give music for it? And he was like, you're gonna have to send some scratches and then get it approved from the production house. And we did that, and we were fortunate enough to get it approved. And so that's how our entry into web series began.
Yeah. That was not Ye Kali Kali Ankhein though. That was Aparan web series
Yeah,
on biology. But that's how we started our web series career.
web
Let's
series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we did a few series, and then in 2021, I think we worked on Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein.
Yeah, yeah, because I think the first season was shot during COVID in 21 when
Oh,
COVID was still around. I was in Boston, so Anuj and me were doing the whole remote thing before it became like a thing. But
wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, especially writing music at a time like that. I think just it's different, you know?
yeah,
But yeah, that's incredible. Thanks for sharing that. Kind of a similar question for Devik now. How did your journey with Deewaana Deewaana and just Ye Kali Kali Ankhein begin, and how were you, connected with Shivam and Anuj?
Yeah, it's honestly, I would like to say it's a little bit of a stroke of luck because actually Shivam and I were lucky enough to work on this other like original song right before, which came out in like February of this year. It's called Kyun Kela, and I think we found Shivam online somewhere. Like, we just like found him like heard his work, and we were blown away, and we reached out, and he was nice enough, to join the project and help us with production and background vocals and stuff. And I think like right after that song came out, one day I just received a text from Shivam, and he was like, "Hey, would would you have availability to sing on this Netflix show that we're doing season 2 for?" And I said, Shivam, if I ever say no to that, like, just you have permission to, call me what you want. Because like, for me, that was like such a huge thing. That was um, something very new, and especially coming from like an indie background, and like still sort of starting out with releasing a lot of my independent artist work. Receiving an opportunity like this was truly special. So yeah, it just kind of started maybe in like March of this year, probably around. And then yeah, it was a lot of back and forth, and of collaboration meetings and sending stems over, and here we are.
Nice. Wow. No, it's incredible. I think just hearing how incredible the song is, it was meant to happen, this collaboration. Yeah, and speaking of the song, firstly, overall, I've mentioned the soundtrack itself is great. And what's interesting is the name of the show is Ye Kali Kali Ankhein, and you did such a cool spin on that song for that, theme. And you somehow captured with a song like that all of those, layers of depth in emotion that the show, tries to portray. And I just wanted to ask, you can talk about that song, other songs on the track as well, but even for Deewaana Deewaana, how did you think and approach the instrumentation and musically writing and composing, producing all of that?
For Deewaana Deewaana, so it wasn't written in the script that they wanted like a retro song for the scene, and whenever we like Shivam and I have wanted to make a retro song, like we love retro, like all the Chuck Berry kind of songs, but we never liked the quality because those songs are so old. So
Yeah, like
we
sound wise, the
sound
60s are
wise,
just
it's like the vibe is there, but the sound, like what if they're made like in today's quality, right? So we went for something like that in with that in our minds, and yeah, and then of course, Daivik had sing Q Akela with Shivam, so we knew he could sing something like that, like the high notes and with energy, and because rock and roll really needs energy. It's all about that, right? So that approach was mainly we just wanted to do a rock and roll song in modern kind of a soundscape, as well as keeping our sound. So it has a lot of BGVs and like background vocals, and it starts with did all that stuff. So that's a bit unique, but also trying to get that energy
yeah.
out.
I think we spent like the first 2 weeks finding the hook word because we had an idea for the start of the song, like we wanted something that was like very repetitive and I would just like grab your attention.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many words Anuj and I went through and then we were like Deewana. Like
Yeah, because the concept of the song is basically the lengths people will go for love is kind of the concept according to the script basically. So we thought Divana would be an appropriate lyric.
Yeah, no, I felt that honestly. I think the word divana itself, it has that musty to it, but it also has the pagalpan, like the craziness. And
Mm.
it's perfect the way you guys came up with, the music for that song and lyrically as well. Yeah, everything is great. Thanks for sharing that. It's so interesting to have that insight. Um, cool. Let's
I think
see.
that song
Mhm.
was our biggest collab because we collaborated with a lot of people
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
uh because the actor had written lyrics and he was like, these are the lyrics. And then we were like, okay, so there's this whole middle section that just breaks away from the song. I mean, and it's part of the show, but then we kept it in the song as well because we were like, we put so much effort into integrating it. And we
and
like it now.
the rap section that comes in the middle. Yeah.
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 And then there's a drummer who was with me in Berkeley, but he's Brazilian, but now has a studio in Portugal, so he recorded the drums. And then that rap section has a beatboxer. So it was just a lot of people in that song. And I
And
think everybody
usually like
yeah.
with web series budgets, we don't usually get to like hire like get help from a lot of people for one song, because then we just spend all of it and then like what are we left with for the next song? So we have to be mindful of that. But then this time we were like, no, it doesn't matter how much we spend. We just want like a good quality song. So the first song was Divan, and we were like, let's just, get a bunch of people who do their job really well. And I think it worked out nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, even with the scene, like there is a band, and then also, of course, there's layers, like we've talked about, not to give away any spoilers, but so many things happening. And I think, yeah, it's great that you were able to bring collaborators on this and make it happen. What a sound. But yeah, and then about the song itself, Daivik, we heard your performance on it. Absolutely incredible. Like Anuj and Shivam said, that retro vibe, plus that modern feel and touch, and of course, capturing the emotion of all of it. Talk us through how you approached it vocally and just from the second you heard that first demo, how did that process look like?
Yeah, so when I first heard the scratch track, I was already kind of sold given the genre, because maybe a lot of people don't know this, because I guess I haven't really written songs in this genre yet, but I'm a huge fan of rock and roll, and like, I grew up listening to a lot of stuff that my parents loved listening to back in the day. So like, a lot of 60s records, and I'm a huge Beatles fan. So Beatles, Led Zeppelin, just, and even some like harder stuff later, like Metallica. I'm like a big fan of all that stuff. And rock vocals is something that I really admire, and I feel like this was like a crazy opportunity for me to try and get crazy, literally, like get Deewaana with it. So like when I heard the track for the first time, I think we spent a little bit of time on like the initial couple of Zoom calls with the three of us, just sort of talking about like how we wanted to emote, and like vocal delivery wise, like what we wanted to, what mindset, like for me, that's important, especially in something like this where you're singing for another form of media. It's important to be mindful of like what the context of the scene is, like, where the main character is, like, mentally, and like what feel you want to kind of bring to the performance. So there was a lot of discussions around that, and what the peak moments are in the song, and like how we want to sort of, some sections, if you've for anyone who's heard it, like, in verse 2, there's like a certain part where I was given a reference by Shivam and Anuj, like to sort of like hold back and kind of sing, like, like dynamically kind of grow, like start like a little softer and like in a whisper tone, and then kind of, crescendo as it reaches the final hook. So I think just little things like that really helped, and it was, amazing having, experts like Shivam and Anuj kind of like vocal produce me and like direct me in that way to like how the performance, honestly, yeah, that just a combination of all those things kind of gave just the best possible performance. So yeah, it was really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can hear it that definitely there's, thought put into that performance. And it
Yeah, it's
works.
really
Second
remarkable.
second
Yeah.
verse also sung so well. Like I was hearing the song today, and I was like the because it starts with because it's not too high that it can all be false. It's just like a little bit below where
Right
he's
in
like
that
it's the
vein.
switch, and his switching is so good in that second verse, and then when he just growls, I'm always blown away when I hear
Mm,
that. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
definitely.
the range of the range that Daivik had to sing with, like not just the notes wise, like he's almost growling in the end. He's starting with yodeling kind of a thing, and then he's singing in the middle, and then it's like a very demanding kind of a song for a singer. And I think Daivik has kind of, nailed it. I mean,
Oh man, that's so nice of you guys. Thank you. I don't know why, I just like remember, like, for me, like I think Sonu Nigam, Shankar Mahadevan, these are like really big personal like idols for me, in the Hindi film industry. Like I like grew up, they were basically the soundtrack to my childhood, and like I've noticed them doing a lot of crazy, vocals in this way, and just their range is incredible. So I definitely would say, like, I drew a little inspiration from them too.
I mean, that's great people to draw inspiration from. So,
even I draw inspiration, but I can't sing like Daivik. It's not it's definitely lot about talent.
Wow. No, you can hear those influences. And like you said, amazing people to be, inspired by and kind of channel in your performance. But you definitely have your own sound as well. Some singers, it's like, oh, very mirrored after an artist, but you brought your own sound to it, which is incredible. And yeah, like you said, it is a vocally demanding song, right off the bat, the yodeling and then building that dynamic, carrying the song. Um, Incredible. Especially as a vocalist, like I just heard that. My first impression was, wow, Devik is perfect for this. Um, yeah. And yes, also I wanted to kind of dive into your experience working together. I know Shivam, Anuj, you said you kind of started off doing, that, what is it called? Like sending tracks back and forth, long distance producer combo. But yeah, how was it working with? I know Daivik is here in California and just kind of managing the time zones and sending files back and forth, being remote. Yeah,
I
anyone
think
can take this.
I think Daivik and I think all of us were really excited to make the song because uh, I mean, while it was shaping up, we kind of felt like it's making sense whatever is happening, and we were excited. So I think even Daivik was like it was night at wherever he was, and he would still record takes, and I mean because since all of us were really excited, I think we didn't think much about the time difference and all that.
Yeah.
It went really smoothly. I think that's what I felt.
And the epic was also very helpful because this is one of the songs in the show that uh, that's also enacted, right? So we needed it before the shoot, so it's not even post production, it's like production. So we would just randomly tell the epic, and then he'd stay up till like 4:30. He's like, my voice is about to go to sleep. Is it fine if I send it tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, chill, just do it, take your time, just do it well.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, a lot of now thinking back to it, like you guys are right, like a lot of our calls would be pretty late in the night, and yeah, I actually it didn't even hit me that like this is one record on the album that is enacted, so like you guys specifically needed it, before so that people can shoot to it. So yeah, I guess that's why they were like there was like a little bit of a time crunch sometimes and stuff. But again, it's the passion for the song, right? Like all of us, like we're so happy to be doing it. So and I'm a night owl anyways. So
No, that's amazing. I'm glad it worked out. But yeah, that's honestly the best part when you're writing music and you're like, this is great. This is what we're passionate about. And you don't think of time and this and that. Or you lose sleep for it, but it's worth it. But yeah, that's great to hear. It's always interesting. A lot of people don't understand like what goes into creating a song, but and a lot of times it's easier to be in the same room. But to make it all happen remotely at this level, at this high of a quality is amazing. But yeah, and then I also wanted to touch on, you might have mentioned a little bit about this, but this question is again for everyone. How did your own style and genre that you're used to writing in, how did it kind of influence the music of the show itself or Deewaana Deewaana specifically, and even your own like indie songwriting projects? How did it kind of translate into this, or was there a connection at all?
Daivik, you wanna say something?
yeah,
Because
I guess for me, um, trying to think. Um, so I guess out of the stuff that I've put out, like my indie projects, like I would say like my debut record Satisfied is probably more in line with it, in terms of like the fun, upbeat nature of the song. And it's just as a vocalist, like you sort of have to approach these records with different mindsets, right? And I feel like it was a similar experience, with sort of approaching it with like a more upbeat, like happy tone versus like something like Kayla, we were talking about like being, alone, and that's a very different mindset. So I guess for my indie projects, I guess that's what I could kind of draw from. Other than that, as I already mentioned, like I drew a lot of inspiration vocally from legends like Sonu Nigam, Shankar Mahadevan. Like, that's I think one of my favorite uh songs. I think they sang together. It was like the Kill Dill title track. Like if you guys
yeah,
have
yeah,
heard that one, like I hear like a lot of yodeling, a lot of like
yeah.
crazy vocals and stuff there, and the range on that record is insane. So I think that could be one of the records that I would say that I definitely drew inspiration from.
For Shivam and I think we always want to put our sound into whatever we are making. A lot of times people don't like it, but we always try to do some stuff. So, uh, like one major part of our sound, I think, is the background vocals and guitars. And guitars, of course, were part of the genre. I mean, rock and roll has guitars, but BGVs are something that we just went like crazy with. Like
Yeah, I think
we,
there were like 200 tracks of
yeah,
BGVs. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was very deliberate attempt to put our sound into it. Uh, but apart from that, I think we usually just go with whatever the song needs and as the ideas come. And so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to add, like, I don't know if I've actually ever told you guys this, like, cause it's been like pretty busy with the post release and stuff, but like the intro, like the dee 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 dee, like that stuff that you guys sang, oh man, it's so catchy, man. It's so good. Like, you guys definitely have a signature sound that you can just tell it's like a Shivam Anuj record, like when you hear it.
I'm
Hopefully,
glad,
we'll
I'm
be able to
glad.
make that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our intention, and for a change it struck. Because
Yeah.
usually we intend something, people like it, but it's for a completely different reason than what we intended. And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
This album actually has like four songs, but they are very different from each other. So in that sense, there's no like one sound among the songs, but there's certainly like if anybody makes a song, like their personality certainly translates into the song. So that has happened, I think, regardless of that.
Yeah, and that's so cool to hear because it honestly feels like the perfect fit as well. Just the way you approach those vocal arrangements, I think you capture the emotion in the song. Like right from the start of Deewaana Deewaana, you know that it's not just, a simple, like there's layers to it, and your music definitely gives that a vibe. So, wow, that's incredible. Yeah, it's always nice to hear. I think, like you said, Daivik, for composers, producers to have that signature sound is great. And
One
yeah, mhm.
No, one more thing. Since we're talking about sound, I think one major contribution is by the mixing engineer. Because as Shivam mentioned, there were 200 tracks of BGVs, and there were like
and there were
200 more
live
tracks
drums and
live
yeah.
drum.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to mix a track like that. So like we had Simone, who's I think also a Berkeley professor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, who
He was
helped us.
one of my favorites at Berkeley. Yeah.
Yeah, so he helped us with the mixing, and I think he's really brought out the energy and the vibe of the song. So I think he deserves the credit for the sound as well.
Yeah. Because
That's
usually
yeah.
Anuj and me mix a song a little bit, but the song had so many tracks. Anuj and me were like, man, we just gonna let
Can't do
it
it.
all go. So and he just gets our worst tracks, and we're like, if we give him something good, he'll probably kill it. But he just gets the ones that we're just like, oh, this it's only he can save this. And we're like,
No, I mean that's his specialty, and he did it. That's incredible. And I just want to say I love that you highlighted the mix engineer. So because Ravi, who created the fellowship and all of this, and Ravi Audio, he's a mix engineer. And just yeah, seeing how they work and actually make the track. My dad always says he's a huge music lover. He always says, the song is 100 rupees. Don't sell it at one paisa. Like, make sure that mix shows the level of the music and writing. And
I know.
yeah.
I remember when Daivik made me hear Satisfied for the first time. He like sent me a link, and I heard the mix, and I was like, "Damn, this song is like the mix sounds insane.
Shout
Like
out
it
Ravi,
sounds like that Quincy Jones, but like a
Mhm.
modern. It's got that arrangement and the brass and
Punk, and
like
the yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's all Ravi, man. Credit to Ravi. It's his wizardry. He's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, speaking of, since we brought that up, I wanted to ask you, Devik, did you feel like this is more of like an RRA question? Did the fellowship and working with the Ravi Ray audio team, do you feel like that informed or helped your experience through this project in any way?
Oh, 200%. Yeah, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it. I feel like the fellowship is really what gave me the confidence and the platform to really uh I don't know, I guess like push my work out there, and like because I'd been writing for a while, but like I'd never had the chance to put out fully finished records. It was always like, demos which would just be sitting in my drafts folder, and that kind of stuff. So just seeing the support and all the resources and all the connections that the fellowship gave me, that honestly really got the ball rolling, in my opinion, because that really gave me the confidence that, okay, like I can record and I can like fully see a project through to the end and put it out and like put it out in a way where it's like, aligned with my vision. So that honestly, I think, and momentum is everything, right? Like you start putting stuff out, like your confidence is at an all-time high, like, and that kind of stuff really helps. So I would say like when I was working on Satisfied late last year, I was also actually concurrently working with Shivam on Kyumakela, and like a lot of the lessons I learned from my experience with the fellowship definitely applied to our collaboration, our first collaboration too. So with Shiva, me, and another friend of ours, Akash Kapoor. So like that was really important because all of that kind of carries over into the projects that it's all accumulative, right? Like everything you learn is it's just gonna keep getting better and better. So I'm glad like I had that fellowship experience to start off with, which Team RRA, I'm again so grateful for. And yeah, it just I would like to think it just definitely enhanced our experience with Deewaana Deewaana as well.
That's awesome. No, I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, as you know, I also was a fellow of the program the year before Daivik, and
Oh,
yeah,
please.
it's great.
She's an insanely like a god vocalist.
Oh
I
my God.
must tell you guys, Priya is one of the best vocalists I've ever heard. So if you haven't
Thank you.
checked out yet,
I mean,
please.
I'm definitely gonna check. Yeah,
Yeah.
check your work out
Yeah,
because
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. That
she's
is
been
too
so
sweet,
helpful.
Daivik. Thank you. But yeah, oh my gosh. No, that was too kind. Thanks. But yeah, it's so nice to hear about your experience. And yeah, it's so true because just having that exposure to what your resources could be for, releasing music and just giving it your 200%, it's really exciting. And yeah, even with this project, of course, like you said, you got to collaborate with so many people and you all made it, an incredible, high quality, high level record. So yeah, let me see. I could keep going on and on with all my questions. I'm gonna ask just a couple more. Um, One of them is, firstly, I want to congratulate you on winning a Filmfare Award for the first season. That's incredible and so well deserved. How
Thank you.
did you, of course, how did you feel with kind of, and the audience that you've built and people that, listened to the soundtrack and loved it? How did you feel releasing that second season soundtrack after that? And how do you think it was received? And in general, you can talk through your experience, being kind of established composers.
I mean, first of all, for the first season when it released, we had no idea that we were making an album. First of all, like we were just making songs for the series, and we had no idea that it will release as a soundtrack. So we
I
didn't.
think that was also the first Netflix India soundtrack. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think everybody was new, and Anuj and me were clueless.
Yeah, so while making the songs, we majorly focused on just like, for example, there's a song which is Sakhire in first season, which was it's a very short song because we just made it only for that edit part and nothing more, right? So, and then we realized that, okay, the album has released and people have liked it, and then we received this award and uh, some outrageous love for that uh, album. So, for the second season, we decided that now that we know that it's going to be released as an album, so we'll just focus on the songs a little bit more for the structure and the way it's like there are fewer songs. There are only four songs, but we wanted to make them more cohesive in terms of song structure and all that. And so we went for that, and I think people are liking like all four of the tracks in the second season's album are like good songs by themselves. Like I have met a lot of people who like they just name any song from the four. Like there's no one favorite from because that all of them are like pretty, like they're like songs. Like from the first season, it wasn't like that. So
Yeah.
that's one major thing I have noticed, that all four are like good songs, I think. They have come out. Shivam, you want to say something?
No, I mean, yeah, the first season was like, it was also like our first time making songs for a web series, because before that we were just BGM. Like, we make songs for ourselves, and but that's a completely different genre.
Yeah.
And then we just made a bunch of songs, because like we were like, when are we gonna get this opportunity again? So we just made a lot of songs, and we made like three versions of Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein. And we were like,
Yeah.
let's just make as much as we can, and let's hope for the best. Uh, and it was also our first Netflix show, which was like, to us, like, a big deal. Uh, so yeah, and I think that the award was just an absolute surprise, because I don't think either
Yeah,
of us
I
were
agree.
expecting anything.
Yeah.
And like, one fine day, we just like we were tagged on an Instagram post, like, you guys are nominated for a
Oh,
film fare. And
yeah.
then I was like, okay, I guess that's
Yeah.
it. And
That
I
that
had
was
my
our I
vacation
think.
planned, so I wasn't even in Bombay when we got it. So, so I was,
Yeah, and I had gone, and that lady called and he's like, "You're coming, right? You should come." Like, what?
yeah.
Why is she saying that? Later I understood. But yeah, it was pretty much like a dream.
That's incredible. But
I
yeah,
want to add
it's
that it was probably a surprise only to you two. I feel like because like just hearing the season one album, it makes so much sense like why it was so deserving.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah. I I
truly.
think I think I think our work tends to get more critical acclaim than than the crazy views. But I think if it gets us the award, might as well. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I always like to say, if you're not, a musician, people will watch a show and they're like, oh, that hit on another level. You don't realize a huge part of it is the music. And because for me, I watched the show because I knew that I would be speaking with you. And so from that perspective, I was, of course, listening for the music. And, right from that first episode, I was like, this is beautiful. And like you said, you have these songs. Of course, you have the score, in the background as well during a lot of scenes. But the songs themselves are so perfect for the scenes, but also great as standalone, pieces, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
also, knowing that this time really helped, because I think one of my favorite episodes in this season is the fourth episode. And we knew, like, Anuj and me knew that in at this point in this episode, Mohabbat is going to come. And it comes at such an intense moment, but the song is just so soft.
mm,
So like, in the BGM, we went like nuts. So, like, this whole episode is just crazy guitar riffs. And like, it's going
It's
to be
basically a
loud when the soft
basically a
part
music
comes.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when the soft part comes, it just like hits you out of the blue. And
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's so true. And that contrast is such a powerful thing. And you use it beautifully, I think, in a lot of different parts of the series as well. Yeah.
Even Deewaana is, I think, kind of a contrast because I mean, is it in the trailer? Can we say what's happening? I don't know. I've seen it or not. It's kind of a contrast.
I think it's in the trailer.
I
I
think you
think
can
there's a
say what's
shot.
happening as long as you don't name who's being chopped up. I think that.
Yeah,
that's-
there's some chopping going on behind that song.
yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I just want to share. I was blown away, like, because of course, like we'd heard the track and all that, but and I had no clue. Like, I had no clue what the visually what it was gonna look like and how it was gonna be placed in the show. So in my head, I was like, oh, it's like some like a peppy, upbeat, like retro thing. It's probably gonna be like in some like really nice, sweet, like upbeat like thing and then when I actually watched it, I was like, damn, that like the visuals make such a big difference to like how, and again, it's all about contrast, right? It's like so unique the tone that it sort of evokes. Having those kind of visuals with this kind of a soundtrack, it's really interesting. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, that's another thing, which is why, because of how unique it is, I think it's so incredible that musically you were able to capture it so perfectly. So, yeah, again, like Daivik said, so well deserved the awards and acclaim and all of that. Yeah. Um, cool. And now, just to kind of wrap up, I wanted to ask if you had any. I think Shivam, you mentioned a little bit of, that fourth episode was your favorite, but any favorite parts of, working on the series or working on Deewaana Deewaana specifically, and also any takeaways that you have that you'd like to share.
Mm, Man, it's difficult to choose because the whole series was like so much fun to make music for, right from BGM, especially for this series because like Shivam's dad, who's the director, he really trusts us with the music, so he uh like gives us a lot of freedom, and that's like every musician's dream. Like you can do anything you want, and
Yeah.
that just
He also
opens up.
rejects it sometimes, but
Yeah, he
that
rejects it afterwards, but while making, he's like, no, you make what you want. Later, you. So, it was inherently a lot of fun to make everything actually. So I can't pick one favorite. I think Mohabbat is definitely my favorite moment in the series, like Shivam mentioned. But then again, Deewana is also. So I can't choose.
I think Anuj and we also, for some reason, every time somebody is crying audibly behind our song, for some reason it just hits, the song just hits harder. It's happened in a couple of web series we've like made music for. But the second you put like a female just crying behind our it just
It's more than
just
that. There's context also, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's correlation, not
Hmm.
causation.
No,
yeah.
that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. But yeah, what about you, Daivik? Or any takeaways as well? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of favorite, I have to say, like on the album, of course, Deewana, I'm biased, but like my actual favorite from the album is Saya Saya, I would say. Like I think that's like very I don't know. I just feel like that one is so fun and like intense, and it's got this like, you know, yeah, just like there's that one crazy guitar solo at the end, and it's and the vocals by Anuj are just insane. So yeah, even like the way you guys composed it, man, I'm like a big fan. So I listened to that a lot. Um, Apart from that, key takeaways. I guess my number one takeaway is I want to do this more. I definitely want to be like, I definitely never thought I'd like explore this realm too, like singing for media and, like, but then again, like growing up watching Bollywood and watching all that, like you kind of do dream about like being a playback singer too, right? So, I guess now, one of the things I've always struggled with is like identity and like, just sort of like shifting between like, oh, do I want to release stuff like as an independent artist, or do I want to release stuff like singing for, playback stuff, like singing for media. Um, but now I realize like I don't really want to choose, I kind of want to do all of it. Like, so I guess that's the takeaway for me, that, I really enjoy this format as well. And I would love to do it again. Netflix, hit me up. I'm in Netflix colors any day, I'm a big fan. Yeah.
Damn, I chose the wrong t-shirt. I chose
Oh, Anuj, I see that.
Ugh.
But yeah, oh, that's amazing. No, and that's great that you said you don't have to choose because that's true. If you have, especially the passion to do or to sing in both those different, fields, so to speak, you should just go for it. Yeah, and anything else that any of you want to share, any takeaways or anything you're looking forward to, maybe future projects or just, continuing like Devik said, doing more of this.
I'm definitely looking forward to working more with Daivik for sure because he's like an incredible singer, and we always love to like we make songs and then sometimes we have to sing them because it's in our head like we want it like that. But there are very few singers who like can sing and then get what you want as a composer and then go beyond that and just give something more that even like we as composers couldn't have imagined, like that, the song can go that way. So Daivik is definitely one of those singers. So I think I would love to collaborate with Daivik. Maybe not always with Netflix, but for other projects also.
Yeah. It's likewise, man. It was a dream working with you guys. It's just such talented composers. I feel like, yeah, man. Anyone, again, not just Netflix, as Anuj said, anybody, hit us up.
Prime Video.
But yeah, cool. That was all the questions from my end. Anything anyone else wants to throw in, or we feel good?
What was your favorite part of the series?
Oh, mine. I loved I think I would say Deewaana Deewaana because also maybe for me the context, just and because Devik had, the precursor was Priya, you won't believe the scene. Like just wait till you watch the scene. And then I did and I was like, what is happening? It definitely took me by surprise, but in the best way. Yeah.
Right.
And I do like the retro vibe in general. So like, and I did want to mention Daivik, like I listen to a lot of old like Muhammad Rafi, Kishore, I grew up on that. And something about those, like dance retro songs of that time, your vocal performance, of course, like I hear that, modern like Sonu Nigam touch as well, but the way they would approach it back then, like I could hear that in your voice as well, which was mind blowing for me. So yeah.
That's insane. I feel like that's like the hugest compliment I've ever received. So thank you. But no, I see what you mean though in terms of the track and in terms of like back in the day. Like I've definitely heard like very fun, upbeat like Kishore Das songs where it's like he really like brings like his 200% to the vocal
Yeah.
performance, and that's again they're like legends that are such inspirations to me. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, of course. But beautiful. And even like season one, I love the soundtrack. Yeah, all of it is incredible. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for spending time with us and, answering all these questions. I think I feel like it's an honor that I got to interview all of you, so
Uh,
thank you.
Thank you for
Um,
having us.
Thank
yeah,
you.
of course.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was so fun, and thank you just for everyone also that's like listened, that's streamed, that's been streaming the album and stuff. It's been so cool to see all the love because like as I mentioned, like I feel like this is new to me, at least like very new to me, and like seeing all the love it's been getting and all the praise, like it's been so exhilarating. So yeah, I just want to say thank you
I think
everybody. Yeah.
I think this time, I mean, because I was like the when the first album came out, I think that was the first time Anuj and I saw like our Spotify numbers go up.
Yeah.
But like I think this was like I think this time it's more of recurring listeners, which is pretty cool. I think because I think there's a lot of people that just keep coming back. So, which I think is great. And the fact that Anuj said that there's no one particular favorite, because Anuj and we were like, it's either going to be this or this. That's what we thought. Then people said Saya, so I was like, oh, like, yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't expect that. Yeah.
Yeah, Saya is also beautiful. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and like you said there, Victor, everyone who's listening and watching this, if you haven't heard the soundtrack or watched the show, you definitely should. Incredible. Um, and yeah, thank you guys for being here, and I hope this was fun.
It was. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, I'll just stop recording for a second.